G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here, and we're back again finally for some more modern action. Alright, so quite a bit has changed since we have played a bit of modern. So we've had the printing of Orcish Bowmasters. That's of course reduced the prevalence of Ragavan, the dirty monkey. As a result of both of these things, I think that firstly Sentinel's Eyes is a little bit worse, and I think that Grispoon gets a little bit better. I'd love to go full, like 4 Rancor, 4 Audacity, but I don't really think that's quite viable. So I'm going to go for 2 Audacity here today, along with the 2 Sentinel's Eyes and of course the 2 Spider Umbra. So the really neat thing about Spider Umbra as well is it pairs quite nicely with Hyena Umbra. These give totem armor, so against decks with dress down, it's going to be really effective at preventing your creature from being destroyed afterwards. Since the wording of totem armor remains on the enchantment and not on the creature, it's not an ability that is lost, and it will still trigger in response to an unholy heat. I think Spirit Mantle is quite well placed as well. I'm going to be running it at 2 copies here. Could be potentially even worth 3 copies if we go down on 1 Grispoon. But at the moment we'll try like this and we'll assess at the end of the league. As far as the creatures are concerned, we've got the playsets of Bogle and Scout obviously, and then we've got Light Paws. Light Paws, whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, you may search up an aura and attach that to Light Paws of mana value equal to or less. So it doesn't matter which creature that aura is enchanting, so you can target Daybreak on Glade Cover Scout for example. And then go and trigger a Spirit Mantle onto your Light Paws. Your Light Paws has pro creatures. That's protection from Fury, protection from, Solitude, removal, effects like that. Alright, some cards that did not quite make the cut. So first and foremostly, I've removed Dryad Arbor. It plays really badly into Bowmasters. Also, I wanted to include a second copy of Beseiju, and seemed like a reasonable way to do that without completely destroying our mana base. Secondly, protective effects for Kaya's Ghost, for the Light Paws. We've got cards like Kaya's Ghost Form and Alpha Authority, which we are familiar from Pioneer. It's possible Ghost Form is good enough. I would have to test it, which I won't be doing so today. Alpha Authority just isn't good enough. I know I've played it previously, but the card you want to look at instead is Canopy Cover. So it essentially gives the Silhana Ledgewalker wording, can only be blocked by creatures with flying or reach, as well as giving the hexproof. So that is a far superior card for Modern where it is legal. Alright, looking across to the sideboard, and we have also done a little bit of a choppy chop. So we've removed Chalice of the Void, which is of course good into those Cascade decks. Everyone's sort of catching on to that whole notion. You just play it on 0 and then they can't get their Living End, they can't get their Rhinos out onto the battlefield. I don't really like this so much. I think against Rhinos we should mostly be able to attack, race, do our thing, and just ignore them. The thing I don't like about it is Force of Vigor is still a really big card in the format, and we're just bringing in a card to get destroyed by Force of the Vigor, or even bounced by Petty Theft. Against Living End, if you're facing a lot of Living End for this result, for this methodology, I think Endurance is just the much better card, right? Because they go to fire off their Living End. You'll evoke in your Endurance, it will exile their graveyard, Living End will go off, you'll end up with Endurance on the battlefield, they'll end up with nothing. Another card I'm closely monitoring is Reprieve as well, so return target spell to an opponent's hand, draw a card. So sort of like Remand, but for white, which is pretty funky. This could be really good into the Evoke Elementals, it could be really good into these Cascade decks, onto their 0 mana spells, etc. None of those making the cut today, but they're ones to keep in mind, right? Alright, so the new spice on the block, we've got 2 cards here. We've got the Suppression Field and we've got Collector Roof. So Collector Roof is going to be a standout against Tron. When Tron brings in its Beseiju, it brings in its Force of Vigor potentially. I don't think they play Force of Vigor, but Beseiju, hey. This is a creature. It's not an enchantment. It's not going to get destroyed. Suppression field will increase the cost. It's going to be quite strong into things like Yawgmoth combo, because each time they want to sacrifice a creature, they're going to have to pay 2 mana, so very, very taxing indeed. Gadok Tig, of course, stand out against Tron, stops things like the One Ring or Ugin being cast. That's what we like. Again, against Tron, with the combination of Gadok Tig, Collector Roof, that shuts off their Oblivion Ring, that shuts off all their Planeswalkers. You should have a pretty good lock if you can get both these creatures on the battlefield at the same time. Against Gam, we have, of course, got Leyline of Sanctity, stop them from tearing our hands to pieces. We got Solitude for if we need it against fast decks like Hammer Time, and we've also got Force of Vigor if we need it against Hammer or Amulet. That's the deck tech, guys. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are for the first match. We are versing Red-Faced Menace, and we won the Dial. Sound looks great. We're one land light of like curving out really, really aggressively. Let's just hope to high roll the land and get things going from there. If we don't high roll the land, I mean, we've got 2 lots of First Strike, we've got 2 lots of Evasion, counting Trample as pseudo-evasion. Alright, so it looks like we're versing Amulet right off the back. Perfect. We find Temple Garden. Alright, so we're not going to muck around here. We're going to go ahead, Ethereal Armor, Audacity, get 5 damage on the board, attacking through. Alright, opponent playing down the Boseiju into a Boreal Grazer. They're going to get, yeah, this is one that copies artifacts. Microsith Gardens. Copying the Amulet of Vigor. So one more setup turn. We find the exact card we want to see, which is a white mana source. So now we can get like really, really aggressive. No point playing the Griff Spoon here. We're playing like around explosives here mostly. We're going to gain a lot of life off this. Back up to 26. Yeah, Griff Spoon versus Hyena Umbra makes no difference. This creature has reach. We're just playing around the explosives effect without Totem Armor. And that's 8 over the top. Opponent down to 7, and we're going to force a fair bit off at them. Saga is floating mana. Alright, and we see Expedition Map, cracking Expedition Map. They'll get a bounce land. It gets like 2 effects, right? So is that like too little too late? 4 mana. They could go that into potentially a Dryad of Elysian Grove, extra land activation. I think it has to be Azusa, right? I'm sorry. There's the prime time. They can give it vigilance, attacking, double strike, all that sort of stuff, but they don't have Dryad of Elysian Grove, so they cannot Velcult our face. Or Velcult our face. Simic Growth Chamber, Boseiju. So Boseiju interact. Yeah, that makes sense. Opponent plays 1 ring, so that's going to do a good job of stalling us out, unfortunately. God, I hate that card is in this deck. What a load of rubbish, man. Now they get like heaps of card advantage from it. Well, we can't really do a huge amount. We can play out our flying. It could be important stat, like in face of removal effects, but leaving it in hand could be good on a reset onto, for example, Light Pause. I think we just hold it. No attacks because our opponent has protection due to 1 ring. Alright, Boseiju on our Daybreak, unfortunately. Let's use the ability, thin our deck slightly. Yeah, there's like no reason to attack in that spot. Maybe they've got some main deck Force of Vigor for some really odd reason, who knows. Alright, so opponent pays for a Summoner Pact now. Have they got another bounce land to start generating wild mana? I think they got a second Boseiju or like Growth Chamber from the Primetime ETB, so they do have the Growth Chamber. Here comes the Mana Slayer's Stronghold, also played for the turn. There's 1 more land drop they can make. Alright, and there's Boros Garrison. That's going to give vigilance and allow our opponent to attack. Note, they have bounced a Boseiju to hand, so Ethereal Armor could very easily get destroyed here. Oh, yikes. Second prime time. This is going to get messy for us. Alright, so this time finding Growth Chamber Talaria West, so they could transmute, for example, for an engineered explosives. And there's potential for them to even as well explosives, like Besage away the Hyena Umbra and then explosives our guy. Be very annoying. Note that would remove their Amulet of Vigors, but at this stage of the game, that's not really relevant. They're in a winning position anyway. They just go for Summoner's Pact, so I guess it's just like Valakut active off the Dryad of Elysian Grove. We'll let them attack, we'll let them get their things, we'll let them stack triggers, and then we'll fire this off pretending we have removal, which we don't, but our opponent does not know that. Alright, so now we see 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers at face. Sure. Let's just go like this. Find Hyena Umbra. I mean, that might get us large enough to beat our opponent next turn. I don't think we can block out both these prime times though. I think we just die. Oh wait, maybe we're okay actually. This untaps. We don't care about those triggers. Oh, there's a second prime time trigger, so we're just dead to the second lot of prime time. I missed that one. I just usually in paper it's shortcut, right? They just grab both lots at once. All right, so Vesuva and Sanctuary finishing things off. It's not even going to go to damage. No blocks needed. All right, so neg 4 before attackers get through. Pretty big win for them. So against Amulet of Titan, we can expect our opponent is going to be bringing in Force of Vigor against us. We'll be doing the same. I think Solitude is optional, but maybe not amazing, like sort of filling the role of Path. I don't really like Suppression Field. Oof does nothing except against explosives. Teague does nothing except preventing explosives from being cast. So I don't think, I guess Teague stops One Ring. On the play, Light Pause might be good anyway. I guess Teague could be a consideration. So against our opponent, when they go ahead and rock the Force of Vigor, a lot of the times we want to play around Force of Vigor as much as possible. So where possible, we'll be playing like Rancor, Audacity, or Sentinel's Eyes before attacking in post-board games. And of course we still want our totem armor effects in there for our opponent's explosives. Evasion, generally speaking, is good. I know they had the Boreal Grazer to block with, but they're not going to have that every time. Mostly I think we'll just trim on Spirit Mantle, and then probably just bring in the Force of Vigors and leave it at that. I don't think we wanted to do overboard here, but I could be incorrect. Teague could be good into One Ring. Alright, so note no Dryad Arbor in the deck. This hand has to be a mulligan even if we liked it. Regardless, it would be slow. Sounds pretty good. We'll keep. We'll bottom one guy. Nothing to reset on, but we definitely want like double white mana source and these 3 enchantments. Alright, opponent with the Boreal Grazer. There's a Saga. Yep, we find another Sentinel's Eyes. So mostly we want to play out like the least value auras for our opponent to destroy. They can go ahead and, you know, block the board here if they want. They can block. They can force. They're not good force targets because we can get them back later on. If the game goes long enough, which if the first game's anything to go off of, they might not. Amulet for our opponent. Alright, and we see Construct Token. That's not too bad. Because of the way we sequenced our spells last turn as well, now our opponent can't block our flying creatures, so that's nice for us. We can continue to pile on the hurt here. This seems pretty nice. It's only bad into like Force of Vigor effect here, because our opponent can blow us out pretty hard and trade with our creature. It looks like they don't have it. Excellent, excellent. Note if we play just Daybreak Coronet there, our opponent can force both our Sentinel's Eyes. Daybreak Coronet will fall into the graveyard for free because it doesn't have a legal target. It doesn't matter whether or not that's on the stack or already resolved on the battlefield. If Daybreak Coronet is the single enchantment on the creature, it will fall off. Alright, so prime time with like triple natural amulet. Yeah, lovely stuff. This could get pretty dicey for us. So my guess is second prime time, Azusa. Yikes, this is getting even worse. Growth Chamber, just all the mana. Another prime time from hand. Note they, I They kept a pretty bloody strong 7 here, and I feel like they drew reasonably well as well. 2 cards in hand still. Still no Summoners Pact yet. Our opponent can effectively bounce the Talaria West off this next activation, get Summoners Pact, give haste, Dry to Lissing Grove, all the fun stuff. When you're generating like 40 mana in one turn, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Alright, so first Summoners Pact acquired off the Talaria West. So Dryad will give them like just another prime time. Holy cow, man. They're going ham. So now we can see Boros Garrison, Slayer Stronghold, Vigilance, you know, etc. We don't have First Strike on our creature. We can't block any of these guys. I guess we were supposed to play the Daybreak Coronet and just play into a really loose Force of Vigor. I think Force of Vigor with the configuration of our hand would have left us trading with the construct regardless, but we want the card draw off Audacity in any case. Alright, well, our opponent was just obscenely fast these games. Note our opponent has gone through all the trouble of going for double strike like as well on top of their creatures. The most amusing part of that being the fact that they'll only deal like normal damage at first strike speed, and then the second lot of that damage is just gonna fizzle into nothing. But hey, they're having fun with their clicks. I do think we were a little bit unlucky this game. That was a turn 4 kill in the first game, stabilizing with the 1 ring, and in the second game this was a turn 3 kill, keeping 7 in both hands, and just way too good for us, way too fast. Hopefully we verse some like Bowmasters decks, which we're probably better placed against. Alright, welcome back for match number 2 here, versing Buster Brown. Won the die roll. No white mana in that first hand, so we will throw it back. This second hand looks fine. I think we keep it. I think we throw away the light paws, and we just look to make do with a reasonably sized creature that doesn't get access to first strike. Second land drop and the like tempo of playing 2 spells a turn is more important than keeping the light paws in most scenarios. Oh. Okay. So if this is scam, no turn 1 scam effect, that's pretty interesting. I think I misplayed this. Thing that Spider Umbra is supposed to be an Audacity for slightly more damage. Now I'm scared of like a potential ritual into Blood Moon if it's something funkier, which could just be awkward. Okay, we're versing Goblins. In my experience, Goblins is a pretty poor matchup, but they haven't had the fastest start here. We'll see if our opponent just has the combo in hand and if we're just screwed. Alright, so there's Harbinger. We'll just make sure they combo the right card to the top, Kiki Jiki, so now they can just make infinite Snoopies and eventually like sack them to a Slinganger, so we'll just concede. Alright, so here we can see a Goblins deck. There's the Slingang Lieutenant, which they shoot you in the face with. This is a targeted effect, so for example, Leyline of Sanctity can be quite good in this matchup. Common cards in the sideboard to expect to see: Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon, really. I don't think they normally interact with our enchantments. Alright, so cards that we might potentially want. Leyline of Sanctity is very good. Suppression Field will stop the activation of their combo, so I think that's probably a good nod. And Solitude is probably also a consideration, but I wouldn't say it's super necessary. I think mostly like Leyline, we want to disrupt the hand disruption. We probably want to fetch around Blood Moon, get our like good sources. We do have the Besagers in the main deck to help us fight Blood Moon as long as we have a forest on the board. I think something like this is pretty good. I don't really think Audacity is the best. Light Paws is going to die a lot of the time. They do have a creature that shoots down yours. So that just leaves us with one more card we need to minus. I think it's Suppression. I think it's Spider Umbra. I think one less Spider Umbra is worth it for Suppression Field. Opponents can play Engineered Explosives though, so sometimes Totem Armor is required. Alright, so this hand is awful. We'll mulligan. This hand is very good. Very little interaction with our opponent, but we can play around Blood Moon, which is nice. Bottom of land. A little bit of a painful start because we will lead on that Horizon Canopy. Alright, Thoughtseize this time from our opponent. Nope, just the Aether Vial. Good news for us. Suppression Field, lovely, awesome. So this can also shut off our opponent's fetches, so we could just stone kill them here like this. It shuts off the Aether Vial. I think we just high roll it. I think we just jam it, go for it. Make their life a lot harder. If this gets discarded as well from Thoughtseize, it's way worse than like Hyena Umbra getting discarded as well. Opponent, no land. Alright, so now we can start the beatdown. We got our Totem Armor on the guy. Rancor, attack. No, we can leave one of these Totem Armor effects in hand if we're expecting the Explosives. The Explosives is going to cost 2 more to activate anyway, so opponent's missed a land drop. They're crippled off their fetch lands. Cool, they concede. Excellent. Let's go Suppression Field. Alright, I don't want to change anything. Let's run it back. Sound looks great. Vulnerable to discard, but at least we have a Suppression Field. Let's go. Force the discard from our opponent, who has mulligan to 6. Reminder as well, guys, if you do enjoy the video, want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. Excellent. Tapped fetch land from our opponent, turn 1. Another Suppression Field to back up the first one for us. So we'll get our creature down. We'll pass the turn. Note this will like make Horizon Canopy activation cost more, and also Griff's activation from the graveyard cost more. Alright, our opponent's got the conspicuous Snoop there. We can see Munition Expert on top. That's the creature that removes other creatures, deals damage to them. So that's one of the reasons to board out our Light Paw. So we'll just jam out a Suppression Field, shut off this activation, make life a bit harder for our opponent that way. Opponent cracking the Bloodstained Mine after paying the tax. Pretty amusing. Ringleader on top. Mog Fanatic onto the battlefield. Excellent. Alright, so that activation will also cost more to do. No blocks from us, and our fragile 1/1 about to grow a bit bigger. Oh my god. Sentinel's Eyes as well. Yeah, we're just like at a win at this point. Alright, so attacks. We get in for free damage in the air from now on. Our opponent can't really attack into us, and we got Suppression Field locking out the combo. All we die to is Explosives, but there's going to be a turn of setup for Explosives, and we've got Ethereal Armor for the kill next turn. Alright, our opponent's had enough and has conceded. Leave a comment for Suppression Field. Let's go. Alright, match number 2, we lost the Gyro, our opponent the Unseen. Hand is not keepable, so we'll mulligan. In the blind, it's really difficult to keep this hand if Light Pause is bad. If we don't have our second land drop, this is also a mulligan. Alright, I guess we keep at this point. Bottom of land, probably bottom 1 Ethereal Armor. Double Light Pause beats 1 removal spell. We can Ethereal Armor for like a Rancor or something and start getting something going for our creatures. So Temple Garden passed. Played in tap, passing to our opponent. Alright, our opponent gets Triome. Lovely. Wonder if this is Domain. If so, the first one will definitely die to Tribal Flames and we'll play out into it. Oh, it's a Beanstalk one. So I saw something similar played by Thrabian U in Legacy. It like hedged fairly hard off of the elementals. So this guy could be getting Furied, it could be getting Solituded. Hopefully after this one's removed, the next one sticks and then we're a happy camper. Or just Sorcery Speed Lightning Bolt. Alright, no stress. Let's see what happens when we go for Bogle here. I think we want to pivot onto Bogle if possible. I look to resolve. It should probably be Sentinel's Eyes here we look to resolve, or we're just looking to get underneath Counter Magic maybe. Alright, let's try that. Let's try to ignore Counter Magic. I don't think they're going to have a huge amount of Sorcery Speed interaction. Obviously, I don't know exactly what my opponent's list is, but if it's Elementals, we're in an okay spot against Fury, against Solitude by playing it like this. Tef's not too bad. Bounce Ethereal Armor, he draws a card. So now we just need to dodge the likes of what's the bloody card called? Force of Negation. Looks like our opponent has Solitude to remove the Light Pause. I mean, that's fine. Evoke, draws a card with Beanstalk. I think we ignore Teferi, at least for this turn, then plussing to play sorceries. It doesn't really matter. Let's start smacking them down before they generate value here. Play a second one and generate even more value. Alright, opponent with Fury evoked. Exiling Solitude and Fury on the Solitude cast and the Fury cast. So that can't target our guy. They're targeting themselves. Interesting. I mean, they have to evoke it anyway. I guess they're digging to something, trying to make those land drops. Alright, now's the real test. Is One Ring, is it? Omnath. Okay. Evasion would be good. That's not evasion. Let's go ahead and crack this in the deck. Then we'll crack our Horizon Canopy. Get a redraw. Not the redraw we're looking for. I think we're still supposed to pressure our opponent. Teferi can only bounce like at sorcery speed, so it can't bounce anything mid-combat. If they get a bit of extra card draw, I don't really care. We want to pressure their life total, I believe. Alright, so Teferi plus Fury evoke, draw trigger. A fetch land, that's frustrating. Opponent gains full life. Cracks it. That adds the mana. Opponent plays the One Ring. I wonder if this protects their Teferi or not, because if not, I'm going to attack out Teferi, although Renin 6 plus fetch lands is really bad. We'll just get rid of Renin 6 if we have the option. I'm sure my opponent already knows this interaction. Renin 6, yeah, plus a Beseiju, returning, destroying an enchantment every turn. Awful for us. We don't want to see any of that. I think we just attack one at Ren, one at Teferi. Ren's more important to get off the battlefield. They just choose to trade with the scout. Or not trade with the scout, but block the scout. Seems like an odd chump block. I would think they'd want to keep the Renin 6 around to keep feeding that life gain. Alright, so ring activation again for our opponent, now on 2 counters. Another Fury. I mean, our opponent's, that's their 4th Fury. The gimmick's not really doing that much for them anymore. So 2 more Solitudes that can give that draw effect. Maybe they have another fat creature they can get draw effects off of, minus the Teferi. Plays up the Beanstalk. Second up the Beanstalk on the battlefield. We just need to draw auras. We need to dodge our opponent's Beseiju. Alright, so crack fetch land, another One Ring. They bounced the One Ring with Teferi. That's where that Teferi activation went. Okay. So again, protection from us again. Play another Renin 6. Well, we found out last time that we can attack Renin 6 through One Ring activation, so we'll do the same again. Hey, look. That seems like something worth casting. Let's go ahead and do it. So we'll actually gain life here as well, I believe, by dealing the damage to Renin 6. We can deal excess damage as well, which is nice. Alright, so Renin 6 is down, no blocks. Suppose we play that one out tapped. One Ring active for our opponent. And another fetch land, back up to 17. Leyline Binding, lame as heck. Taking the Ethereal Armor, does this mean second Leyline Binding or Beseiju destroying Sentinel's Eyes to Fairy? Looks like they know the interaction with Daybreak. Yeah. It's a shame. If we draw a Light Pause, we can Light Pause plus Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, our opponent's starting to attack now. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Does this have indestructible? It does. So we can target up the beanstalk. We can target Leyline Binding. That would be pretty clutch. Kill out their Omnath. Yeah, heck yeah, I'm up for that. Let's attack for 2. We'll kill the Teferi. Mostly because the damage to them at 17 health is arbitrary. Leyline Binding. Okay. Sure. So there's still no blocks for our opponent, and we still killed the Teferi. So I'm all right with that. At least we didn't get blown out in combat step trying to kill the Omnath there. We're probably at a loss this game. We're looking at 2 Leyline Bindings, 2 Solitudes left. Our opponent's got 20 cards. 2 Up the Beanstalks. I think we ignore the Up the Beanstalks. We have to combat trick the Leyline Binding if we have any chance. Still drawing cards with 1 ring. We can see stuff they've discarded. Okay, actually, they only have 1 Solitude left, pardon me. Surprised they're not looking to hardcast that yet. Though that could be coming now. Another 1 ring, sure. Alright, activation on 1 ring. Solitude evoked, double draw trigger. That's their last Solitude out. 2 Leyline Bindings left that work with this fella. They can have more Omnath. The Omnath aren't really that impressive. I don't know why our opponent's not hardcasting these. This doesn't make any sense. They're just decking themselves currently. Unless they've got Thassa's Oracle in the deck, then I guess this makes a little bit of sense. Alright, so attacks in for our opponent. No blocks from us. Opponent at 11 in cleanup has to discard. We see 4 mana sources discarded there. Alright. I guess we play our Glade Cover Scout. That's all 4 Solitudes gone now as well. Attack with the Bogle. Eldorami's call for our opponent. I wonder what that's getting. Elesh Norn. Damn. Actually, that Elesh Norn is way less threatening than the other Elesh Norn, which gives -2 to our board. So that's not too bad. That just stops our ETBs and doubles their ETBs. I don't really care about that. Alright, so attacks in. No blocks from us. Go down to 13. Opponent plays another land. Triggers galore. So that's 8 mana. Lol. Opponent could have played this for free post-combat. I don't know what they're doing. Rain and 6 on the battlefield now. Dealing 1 damage to us. Look out, team. Daybreak Coronet off the top. Well, we assume our opponent has Leyline Binding. We can't really attack into our opponent even if we get our Ethereal Armor back, so I think we just chill for a minute. Maybe chump block one of our opponent's creatures, and then we look to set up for a Daybreak combat, like Daybreak Coronet attack in the following turn when Elesh Norn's not on blocking duty. Alright, let's try this. We can do Besage on our own turn, and we won't be able to play, if we draw Spirit Mantle, we won't be able to play 3 effects because we're 1 mana short. Rain and 6, 1 damage to us. Alright, so end of turn, Besage Ethereal Armor to Slippery Bogle. Opponent gets the Stomping Ground, gets to gain life or something, deal damage to us that time. Never mind. That's right. Elesh Norn's a thing. Alright, so this is going to be our last hurrah. We have to resolve this. Our opponent's not able to have any interaction in form of Leyline, in form of Besage. We have to attack into the Elesh Norn here. Alright, well and truly game. Our opponent, Leyline Binding. Oh wait, is that are they gonna deck themselves potentially? Not yet, no. That's a shame. Taking Sentinel's Eyes? No. Oh, they get double effects from Leyline Binding? Ah, yeah, no, that's pretty strong. Okay, that's game. Alright, so here we see a copy of a deck that runs up the Beanstalk. I don't think it's exactly the same as our opponent, but the similarities are probably enough. We saw a single copy of Lightning Bolt from our opponent. Looks like this one runs Prismatic Ending, which is interesting tech. Also, our opponent's deck has more copies of both Solitude and Fury than what this version does. Like 4 and 4 versus 3 and 2. And I didn't see any delightful halflings yet. In the main deck, 1 Beseiju, in the sideboard 2, and then it's Endurance. There is also the possibility of Force of Vigor as well, so enchantment interaction. So we've got a few cards to consider here. Even Force as well. Pretty much our whole sideboard, apart from Leyline interaction with our opponent. Suppression Field will shut off a lot of their fetch lands. On top of that, it will also interact favorably with the One Ring, making it cost more mana, the Planeswalkers, making them cost more mana. I mostly think that's not where we want to be. We can also interact with the One Ring with the likes of Collector Roof and Gadok Teeg, and Gadok Teeg also interacts with our opponent's Leyline Binding. I think that's like semi-reasonable. I don't really think we want Solitude to interact with them. Probably we can take out 2 Light Paws. It's possible we take out all the copies of Light Paws, but it's also kind of strong. So if we trade 2 Light Paws for 2 Teeg, we bring in 2 Force of Vigor. We want to remove like our weakest auras. It's probably Spider Umbra. I didn't see any like explosives effects. So if we get rid of Spider Umbra, that should be fine. And then we still have like maximum evasion, maximum return sort of auras, and like auras that let us attack through our opponent. This hand's okay. We're going to need a little bit of help from the top of our library, but like it's okay enough. Mostly because like no first strike yet. They resolve an Omnath. We like have to stop attacking at that point. It has like a piece of interaction for One Ring, which is kind of nice. Has a decent clock at attacking for 4 on turn 2, which is also nice. So hopefully we just top deck mono auras and see where we're at after that. Audacity off the top. That looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and shock this one. We'll attack for 5 instead now. This is like the best way to, like, these auras are really good into Beseiju as well, right? Just like what we were saying against the Amulet Titan. Alright, opponent, Windswept Heath cracking. This could be Renin 6 now. Up the Beanstalk. Alright. Beanstalk is down. We can wait off one more turn before playing Gadok Teeg. We can get, like, insurmountable pressure here. This is fantastic. Attack for 7, put our opponent to 7, force them to interact with Leyline Binding. This is, yeah, a really strong spot. Teferi. Teferi bounce isn't good enough. They're dead on board. Unless they back it up with Force of Negation, which they may not. I guess we'll see what happens here. Opponent concedes. Alright, we're just too fast. Fantastic stuff. Alright, so one thing I forgot about in like boarding then is the Teferi can bounce our Gadok Teeg, which is a little bit awkward. We just like realistically sequence this on turn 3, so our opponent's going to hit turn 3 first. They're going to play their Teferi, they're going to bounce an aura, and then Teferi's loyalty is going to be down to 1, so we can get Gadok Teeg out and deny the likes of the One Ring and the likes of Leyline Binding from there. I think we run it back. Alright, so here we've got white mana hand. So we've got double white mana, we've got double Daybreak. Our opponent's shown they know how to interact into Daybreak by making the other aura fall off, and Daybreak will just drop into the bin. Our opponent has mulling to 5. I think this is worth keeping. Again, if we draw like a couple of just vanilla auras, 1 mana auras, Daybreak's going to look pretty secured. Having 2 of them is good into Leyline Binding as well for the late game, so we're not scrambling trying to find another. Alright, so turn 1, sorcery speed, using, activating their fetch, etc. Alright, we'll go here. Opponent land into Renin 6. Renin 6 getting back Flooded Strand. I'm sure there'd be no point targeting us here. Yeah. Alright, cool. So we've drawn a couple of pretty good auras, both of which give evasion. Our opponent can't actually block any of that stuff. I think we ignore run in 6 and we just pressure our opponent's life total. If they have Beseiju, I'm going to be quite sad, but I guess like 3 post board's quite reasonable for them to like have it, but we'll just assume they don't. Up the Beanstalk, fantastic. Alright, so now we see Flooded Strand again, Cracking, Plains, Leyline Binding, take away Ethereal Armor, draw a card. Prismatic Ending. Alright, I was going to say there's no need to do Leyline Binding at sorcery speed like that, but Prismatic Ending does make sense. We did see that in the sideboard. We do have a little bit of pressure to follow that up with as well. Run in 6 active, returning. Alright, let's just keep the hurt going. Our opponent did mulligan. We'll just keep attacking in. Hit them down to 6 now. Force the Omnath. The Evoke Elementals really do nothing against our hexproof creatures until they can be hardcast and used as blockers. Alright, Teferi Bounce. Could keep them in the game, although then we just Daybreak attack win. Why'd you remove the flying instead of the 2 damage? Odd. Run in 6, returning nothing. Interesting. So Gadok Tig there. And they've only got blue mana up with the way they did things. It's a very strange way to do things. Alright, Daybreaks, enough damage to attack for the win. That's 7 damage. I don't think I'm missing anything here. Our opponent concedes. Go team. Alright, we're 2-1. Let's move on to round 4. Alright, match number 4 here. We lost the Darrell. Looks like we're versing Tron from what I can see here. Potentially the Underworld Breach Storm deck. Against Tron, it's a light pause hand. Our opponent's kept 7. I think we just gamble. We're in the draw. We're more likely to see our second land drop. And we just gamble that it's a slightly... Alright, it's Breach. It's not Tron. So Serum Visions, 1 card top, 1 card bottom. We hit Daybreak Coronet, not what we are looking for. Temple Garden are most definitely here. Keep our mana options open. Alright, opponent makes their land drop off of Scalding Tarn into Crack. It's just Regular Storm. Wow, okay. So against Regular Storm... We can go to 16, attack for 4, and then take 1 more damage to play Daybreak Coronet. That will put us at 15. We'll then be attacking for 6, gaining 6. I think we just assume our opponent's going to do like 1 more turn of setup and try to win off Light Pause, because Light Pause will have a kill if we draw 1 mana source. Interesting. All right, let's see what happens here. So we're going to go in Rancor on our Glade Cover Scout. It's possible our opponent has a bounce effect for Light Pause. If not, we can like tutor across the Totem Armor onto it. If our opponent lets this ability resolve. Lovely. Okay, so Ethereal Armor would only make it a 3/3, so we have to give it Totem Armor and play around a burn effect. Now we just Audacity on Scout again. Opponent with Remand on that one. Gets to loot a card. I think I'm fine attacking into my opponent like this. It's a shame we missed that land drop, by the way, as well. Yeah, so we definitely attack in here. Attack with both. Just not respect anything our opponent's doing. I can't see a world where they trade Baral for Glade Cover Scout. Even if they had a second one in hand, I don't think they'd want to sink the 2 mana next turn. Though it looks like maybe a Petty Theft on... I don't know. On Rancor? Ah, Flames of Anor. Righto. Okay, so they're just fogging slightly more damage. This is a wizard. I didn't realize that Storm would be picking up this card. Still, I don't think it's that good against us. Yeah, 5 damage, getting off that Totem Armor. Well, our opponent definitely misplayed letting that Rancor resolve in the manner that it did. Damn, mana would have been so much better. Alright, let's see what happens now. I don't think our opponent will make the same mistake twice if they have another removal spell. There is the potential to just Daybreak on our scout and look to attack, but I don't want to play into Remand. Yeah, there it is. Ready and raring. In this spot, I think we do want to try and resolve the Hyena Umbra over the Rancor. Just because if this Light Pause... Remand number 3, if this Light Pause goes off the battlefield from a burn effect, it could be a bit awkward. So opponents tempered us so hard here. We've missed our land drop. They've remanded us 3 times. We're still going to attack in the same fashion. They could block, look to burn, then we hit land, Light Pause, Rancor, Totem Armor, should be fine. Alright, so they're just fogging the damage. We've got them down to 8, they're low. Alright, opponent Scalding Tarn, crack activation, 5 mana on board, 16 hand. You'd think if they're going to go for it, they're going to have to go for it here. And there's the Gifts Ungiven. I think if we had a land last turn, we would have resolved like Rancor and Light Pause, gotten the Ethereal Armor. That's an extra 5, 6, 7 damage. Like we would have attacked for lethal. So it's a shame we didn't like curve out on our land drops because I don't think our opponent had the extra interaction here. They would have spent it end of turn. So choose 2 cards. Those go into the graveyard, right? Alright, so we'll go Magus to the Moon, Manamorphose to graveyard. That gives them double Ritual to hand. They have all the mana in the world as it is. We're not giving them a Blood Moon effect. That's just way too good there. It's highly likely that they just combo off here and kill us with Past in Flames. Electromancer. Okay. There's Past in Flames. They can remand their own spells as well, like remand their own Gut Shot and get an extra cast, extra storm triggers. Fiery Interception enters the battlefield, ring temps you. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, deals 2 damage to each opponent. We're on 14. We might survive that if we're lucky. Although this has flashback as well, so we're probably just screwed. I will just like pause and unpause at relevant moments. Alright, so Flame of Nora killing out our Light Pause. That's irritating for us. We could still Griff Spoon plus Rancor attack for 6. That's not quite lethal. Alright, our opponent killed us with the burn effects from Fiery Inscription onto sideboarding. Alright, so here we can see a copy of the Storm deck. In the sideboard we can see effects like Blood Moon, Empty the Warrens. Empty the Warrens like Griff Spoon's really good into, so that's not the end of the world. Flusterstorm like doesn't really affect us. In the main deck, I guess the main additions were Flame of Nor, which we've already seen. Preordained's been made modern legal as well, it was unbanned. I don't think there's too much of note there. Alright, so I lied. Actually, one thing of note was I didn't see any bounce effect in 3 different storm lists, so Ley Line of Sanctity is now quite viable. Our opponent can still kill us with Empty the Warrens in that spot, but I think I'm fine with that. We have like 6 evasion effects that get around that, and let's just submit that, get into it. Graveyard Hate is normally the way to go. Rest in peace against this deck is very, very strong. Alright, so here we see a capable hand. I think this is fine. It's not amazing. No land protection, which kind of sucks, which means if our opponent combos, they can get us. But we do have Daybreak Coroner on turn 3. We have a little bit of Blood Moon protection with the Windswept Heath as well. And we have an attack for 4 on turn 2. Our opponent did mulligan to 6, so that's something to note. That's not like notably low though, right? Alright, tap land onto us, and we see Hyena Umbra. Alright, so let's go ahead and crack this. We'll get our planes. We'll go like this. And we'll attack. Opponent plays out Baral. No remand. Jam Daybreak Coronet any day of the week. Sure. So... I don't really see, like... I guess resolving the Spider Umbra is slightly more important in case we need to escape a spell. But we're in, like, a pretty strong spot here. Put our opponent to 8. We got Trample. We got Daybreak Coronet down. And we got 2 lots of Totem Armor. Should be hard for our opponent. Like, they have to combo this turn or else we Sentinel's Eyes attack, force the block. I must say, it'd be nice to be like our opponent to be out of range of like one Daybreak Coronet, sandbag the Ethereal Armor, and then like throw off their combat math, so maybe they delay a turn and can't get past like triple remands, like they need double remand and can't like do the third activation. Would be nice. Looks like they are going for it this turn. They realize they have to. Gifts ungiven. So we see Ritual, Manamorphose, Past in Flames. My guess is if we put Past in Flames, Manamorphose in the graveyard, they're just going to go off anyway. If we deny both rituals, they might not have a ritual in hand to cast Past in Flames at all. So let's ditch both the rituals, put their mana to a test, and hopefully deny them. So there's Manamorphose, so that's 1 mana netted. Electromancer, let's go. We got him. One more turn. All right, flying is win. Ethereal Armor is win. That is not win. We can't cast it either. So we'll attack for 9 here. Our opponent has to block with Baral. Leaves him with just 1 Electromancer to try and go off with. And then we'll be going up to like 34 as well, which is nice. All right, opponents on 1. Can they do it? Oof, and they concede. We take the game. Excellent. Well, they didn't see Leyline of Sanctity, and we get to go into a game 3 without them having that information. There's potential for us to bring in Solitude here. Traditionally, I haven't liked Solitude into Storm, or like Path to Exile into Storm, because it nets them a mana. It doesn't really do anything. Just costs us tempo from tapping for 1 mana, adds mana to their pool. It's pretty bad. Solitude could be different. It doesn't cost us mana. It costs us a white card. If we have a duplicate Leyline, it could be okay. I think we gamble on it. I think we ditch the Spider Umbras probably. Keep our white count high. And just go like that. Let's force it. Let's have some fun. Let's see if we can blow them out. All right, so no hexproof creature. We can't keep this hand. Hey, this hand looks good. Let's keep it. Let's ditch the Besieju, I'm assuming. We need like double white to play our Ethereal Armors, so yeah. Keep bottom. All right, so we draw a little bit of Blood Moon protection, which is nice. Razor Edge Thicket, creature go. Opponent just holding up Remand by the looks of it. See what happens. Well, this is just way too juicy. We'll Ethereal Armor. We'll sandbag the mana, see if that influences their decision. Doesn't look like it has. It's like, it can be nice against counterspell decks to do that, to sandbag in such a fashion. Triple Ethereal Armor is insane. Let's go for it. You got the Remand on the second one. Yeah, sometimes you want to like play the tempo and not play into their remand, not give them that card draw, especially since we've got 1 mana spells in hand, we've got the 3rd mana for next turn. We can deny the tempo of this, but it's just weird that when we sandbagged our mana that they didn't activate that on the first Ethereal Armor. It seems like a strange line to me. We could have got Anger of the Gods there, which would have been annoying, but looks like we've avoided it. All right, Ethereal. Get out of that anger range. Ethereal. That's 10 damage. This will be another 4. That's 14 damage. Even if they remand this, like it doesn't matter. It's a 2-turn clock currently. They still don't have a creature on the board. All right, let's attack for 10. All right, Preordain. It's a setup card, but it's not, you know, cheat creature into ritual, so that's nice. Our opponent did scry 2 cards to the bottom off that Preordain. Magus of the Moon. All right, well, that's going to be short-lived. Leyline of Sanctity. Our opponent has to block. We don't have any light paws in hand, so there's no point holding all these guys. We might want to go in on a different hexproof creature though. I see no... I guess we can cast 1 Hyena Umbra and then we can cast a second through a Blood Moon, but I don't really see much point putting this out. It's probably more likely we draw like a second Scout and need to get it to 3 power to attack through Baral. This Preordain, 1 card top. Ottawara played, not bouncing. Okay. Electromancer. Second Electromancer. Alright. Evasion of any description. Not evasion. But you know what? That is a bloody good find because our opponent can't remand it. We can resolve that. We can be out of range of... Well, we can dodge their grape shot, right? Alright, so attacking in 1 block. And then we'll just go ahead and cast this one. The sequencing of Leyline pre or post combat did not matter there. Alright, Serum Visions. And 2 cards to the bottom. Lovely. Empty the Warrens. Alright. That's fine. That's not that many. Alright, so any hexproof creature would be nice. If not, an evasive effect. Daybreak Coronet. That's neither. So do we attack and chip through these Warren tokens? So we attack now, they block with 1, they crack back for 5. So that'll put us to 8, then they crack for 4, that'll put us to 3, then they crack for... I think we pressure them. We're not guaranteed to draw what we need, but getting the Warren's tokens off the battlefield could be useful. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to play Windswept Teeth there like thin deck. Our life's kind of fragile into so many wide creatures. So attack for 4 here, that'll put us to 11. I think I counted 5 instead of 4 on the initial. It's slightly better for us, but this is kind of bad for us. Alright, so opponent attacking there now, leaving back 2 blockers for some reason. Interesting. Baral. Why do they need 3 blockers? They can't block through trample anyway. Thank you. Let's go. Right on time. Rancor, trample to save the day. Let's attack through for well and truly lethal. Alright, so here we just have to assign damage, like lethal damage to each creature, trample the rest. We get the victory against Storm. That Storm and Goblins we've taken down. Both those matchups are hard. Alright, match number 5, and we won the die roll. This hand's not capable off the strength of just 1 light pause. Let's mulligan. Versing Berserti. I feel like I've versed this player before. I don't remember any details about them. Let's go ahead and keep this hand. Ditch the light pause. We already have our guy. We have good enchantment coverage. Assuming like not too much interaction, we should be in for a pretty good game here. Alright, so this looks like Yawgmoth combo. We do have the suppression fields in the sideboard, which will be very nice. Yeah, I think we deck thin here. We want to find more gas, not more mana sources. So we'll go ahead and do that. So be a nice attack for 4 still. And then we can play any 1 mana enchantment we draw next turn on top of the Daybreak Coronet. Opponent considered blocking there, but trample's a word. Alright, Wall of Roots from our opponent, so that's a 1 more setup turn. Looks like they've got more action. 2 mana, Strangleroot Geist. Alright, decent turn from our opponent. No attack with the haste creature. Interesting. Alright, so Daybreak Coronet, attack for 7, put our opponent down to 9. They could block an Undying. I think they want to keep it on the board though, like keep the counter. I mean, they can sack that to remove the counter post Yawgmoth. Alright, so that resolves. Might as well resolve our Scout now as well. Heck yeah, we can tap black mana, let's go. Finally, that Kaya's Guile I didn't put in the deck, we're finally able to cast it. There's a delightful halfling. Haywire Might. Now this card's an annoying one. It exiles the enchantment, like Rancor wouldn't even come back if they choose to go after that card. And, you know, like main deck rubbish is always annoying. Alright, so let's go ahead, Spider Umbra, make our guy a little bit bigger. Force the agency on blocking a little bit more. My guess is they'll go after Daybreak Coronet because they want to attack our life total. They could go after Rancor and then just have a whole bunch of chump blockers, like fog the damage with Haymire White, destroying the Rancor. Yeah, they've gone after Daybreak Coronet. Not surprisingly. Our opponent mistimed that because they could have removed the Vigilance if they did at the beginning of combat. We still would have attacked regardless. If we like hit if the opponent does a Besiege You as well, that could be pretty dicey for us. Alright, Besiege You on our first strike on our Hyena Umbra. That's a bit sad. Alright, this one can come in tapped. Our opponent can double block and like trade off. Or he can just single block and trade with the Spider Umbra. Yeah, that's reasonable for him. Totem Armor triggers, our guy stays on the board. Our board state's pretty decimated from that. They're down to 1 card in hand. It's battle of the top decks here. If they've got Yawgmoth, we probably lose. If they don't and it's a race, we hit an Ethereal Armor, we could be in a good spot. Fetchland is good. It's not action, so that much I'm pleased about. That is not what we're looking for. Alright, let's attack with this Bogle. We've got a few more Bogles to reset the Rancor onto. Keep some sort of agency going. Probably Delightful Halfling. Bowmasters? Lame. It's a pretty bad attack into Bowmasters, but Bowmasters isn't particularly good against us. Alright, so Orc Army there. Trample a couple of damage. Rancor trigger. And then we replay the Rancor, play the Bogle. Well, now it is literally battle of the top decks. Ah, yeah, right off the top of our opponent's deck. They get there. Ah, how frustrating. Alright, so sacking the Wall of Roots. Removing the counter. Strangleroot Geist. So next is probably Halfling. I guess it's Ignoble Hierarch. I think they care more about another Bowmasters from hand. Yeah, lovely. We need a Daybreak off the top. Flying would actually work as well. Griffspoon, Spirit Mantle. Yeah, Griffspoon and Spirit Mantle are better. Oh, and this is what we get. Alright, let's pass. End of turn, opponent cracking Verdant Catacombs, getting Dryad Arbor. Looking to go wide against us. And now they play out Grist. We're not that concerned about Grist. It gets another insect. Yeah, it's like Evasive Effect or Bust. We've got 6 of them in the deck. We've probably got, at best, 2 turns to draw it. We realistically would want to go for it now, though. Like, straight off the top of the deck. Yawgmoth, Proliferate. Sure. So that was discarding a card, which was the Halfling to Proliferate. The Orc Army is now a 2-2. An opponent not even attacking, getting any Exalted happening, just on defense. I do believe that's incorrect. So if we play this, we have a 5-powered creature. It's not really worthy of attacking. Let's hold that in hand. Maybe we can double Aura in a future turn, like double Ethereal Armor and blow them out. Converse to that, if we play this and play with our cards on the table, we make attacking for them harder into us. We are at 24, so I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Yawgmoth, that's just the combo, right? Or they need a Blood Artist to combo. Oh, opponent milled Eldritch Evolution. That's going to be frustrating for them. Strangleroot Geist gets a 1-1 removed. Opponent's down to 1 life. Alright, 2 cards in hand. I think at 1 life they can't win. They have to win on normal combat. I don't think they can gain life without first losing it. Opponent attacks, Exalted Trigger, 3 damage. We don't care about that. We're drawing to Daybreak as well now with the Ethereal Armor. That should be more than enough. Ethereal plus Daybreak. Spirit Mantle, there we go. Go team. Alright, Spirit Mantle. Ignore all the chump blockers. Let's go for the attack and see if we get there. Opponent concedes. Wow, that was a nail biter. We got really lucky because we applied a good amount of early pressure and our opponent was like 1 creature short of the combo. So here we see a Yawgmoth combo. We saw pretty much all of their combo short of like the 1 enabler creature. So usually it's like Blood Artist, Cutthroat. Yeah, there's Blood Artist, and I think this one just stops neg 1 counters, right? They have a decent amount of interaction with us. We already saw Besage, we already saw Haywire Might. The fact Haywire Might was in the main deck could mean they're running Urza's Saga, although that seems pretty greedy. In the sideboard, yeah, more Haywire Might, Chalice of the Void, maybe even explosive stuff that can cause us hassles there. Note that Blood Artist does target, and Cutthroat does not. I think they only play one or the other, given everything. We like a lot of stuff here. We like our ley lines, we like our solitudes, we like our suppression fields. We probably don't like light pores. We probably want to trim out the waste of the Spider Umbra there, and then that still leaves us 3 cards over. After that, it would be Audacity. Maybe a Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, let's go for that. I don't think that's a situation where it can be considered overboarding, because I think all those cards are really good. Leyline shuts down their combo, like targeting us potentially if they're on Blood Artist. And Suppression Field shuts down their combo by making it cost more. Yeah, it's just all good stuff, and removal for Yawgmoth also could be very important. Hand looks strong here. It's weak in face of Thought Sees Away Bogle. Maybe it's bugged to top. Looks like our opponent just Besage you into Hierarch, so that's one less Besage you to worry about. Hand's a little bit slow here. We've got too many auras. Like, it's not worth mulliganing, but we do have too many auras here. We're at 2 mana symbols. It's really, really hard to like churn your hand out fast when that's the case. Hopefully we draw some more like 1 mana symbol auras, like one more land, one mana symbol aura, and then we can just churn out our whole hand really efficiently. Wall of Roots, Ignoble Hierarch, potential here for our opponent to do something. Another Wall of Roots. And a Yawgmoth. Alright, 1 card in hand. Honestly, their hand doesn't look very good here. Could be Yawgmoth next turn. Hey, look, evasion. We really like evasion. 1 card, they can't Force of Vigor us, so it's fine to Rancor plus Sentinel's Eyes. Then we can attack for 4. They have a chance to block with Wall of Roots. I don't think they're going to. I think they'd prefer to use this as a sack outlet, at least this early into the game. Later on, that might not be the case. So I think it's fine sequencing the way we did. Alright, looks like a Yawgmoth to me. There he is. And looks like a sack on Yawgmoth immediately. We see Slippery Bogle off the top. Bogle's not really that impressive. Daybreak here is fine. Keeping our evasion secret is like good. If we wheel this out like much earlier, our opponent will like... maybe it's fine to jam the evasion. It's just like it's less pressure on their life total. So we force the misplay here from them not blocking at all, potentially. They'd go to 8, and then 1 evasion effect resolving will be the kill next turn. So it looks like we do actually get through. I think our opponent throwing away 1 Wall of Roots there would have been playing slightly more optimally. Alright, what have they got now? Sacking Wall of Roots. Cool. Alright, sacking Yawgmoth. So the first sack there, minus the counter off there. Second sack, got the Undying trigger, plays a land, 4 in hand, 1 floating. Bowmasters, we don't care about Bowmasters, that's fine. Grist. Alright, we definitely don't care about Grist. I think that's just a win for us at this point. Flying. Win game. Yeah, that's really good. I'm not sure how like experienced our opponent is with the deck, but I've definitely had a lot more trouble versing these decks in the past than what we have had here today. And yeah, I'm not sure if they can aggressively combo faster than that or not. But, you know, we just get a nice little attack here. I guess our opponent could still have Force of Vigor, blow up 2 enchantments, block our creature, blow us out. Alright, neg 1 counter on Yawgmoth. Drawing a card, or is drawing the card on the other part? Draw a card is paying mana, so yep. Drawing a card is on both. There's a lot of text on this fella. I'm not good at reading text. Alright, 4 cards in hand, 1 mana floating. Maybe they found the Beseiju. Sacking Wallerots. Alright, they're still looking. Down to 2 life, sacking Yawgmoth. It has to be Force of Vigor at this point or nothing. Because they've only got 1 mana up. No way to make it cost less. Oh wait, I guess they've got the legendary creature actually. That's incorrect by me. Legendary creature typing is good. Hey look, 4-1. Let's go team. So not a bad return at all if I do say so myself. We definitely took out some real bogey decks for us, being Storm and also Goblins. Those have been very difficult matchups in the past. Suppression Field just feels really good right now. Obviously I've moved away from the 0 mana sideboard that I've had previously with like the Ley Lines, the Solitudes, the Force and the Chalice. But I think it's valid. I think Suppression Field's just that good. We've got our Batman and Robin for against Tron. The only thing that we might want is Graveyard Hate. So like maybe get rid of 1 Suppression Field for 1 Endurance, and that could potentially be a better line because then we have something to do against Living End, which would be strong. And a 1 card for Living End's not that bad. Against like some Storm decks, we might want to exile their graveyard as well. Overall, I liked the configuration in the main deck there. Audacity felt fine currently at 2 copies. This is one of those cards, along with Rancor, Spider Umbra, Sentinel's Eyes. If you don't have a first strike effect, Rancor, Audacity, Sentinel's Eyes, they all lose a lot of agency because there's a lot of creatures in Modern at the moment, and there's a lot of creatures that are good at blocking. We don't really want any of that. I'm not in love with Cartouche of Solidarity at the moment. The token just dies to Bowmasters, so it seems like a bit of a pointless inclusion. Alternatively, we could go up on Spirit Mantle, but then that leaves you in the situation where you can't release your hand as quickly because there's too many mana symbols, as we saw in, I think it was the last game. We had like 3 2-mana spells, and it took us quite a while to empty our hand. We definitely did not curve out. Double Beseiju in the main deck felt fine. I didn't really feel like I was locked off my white or double white very much at all this league, so that seems fine. Maybe want to monitor a little bit more still, but it's much the same as having Forest Beseiju and Dryad Arbor. It's just Dryad Arbor seems pretty woeful to me currently. Light Boars, I mean, it was okay. It didn't really win us much. Where we really want this card is against decks like Tron on the play, where we can go for that turn 3 kill. So you need Light Paws, you need 3 1-mana auras. You need one of those 1-mana auras to be Ethereal Armor. So you'll like Hyena Umbra get Ethereal Armor get Rancor, and then like Griffspoon get Audacity, and it's attack for 20. So that's a kill to keep in mind as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be trying to post a lot more, at least weekly, going on forward here. Now that the soccer season is over, I do have more time on and energy on my hands. So definitely let me know what you thought in the comment section below. We're back. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. Till next time, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.